Ask Tom on Home Show.
Sherry from Houston, Texas has a question about driveway cracks.
She's talking about those troublesome expansion joints, Tom. That's the problem.
Yes.
Sherry writes, should driveway expansion joints and cracks be filled in? Is it okay to use a company who uses mastic only with sand if requested to fill these expansion joints? They'll also add mastic to all the cracks that have occurred in the driveway as well. They don't put in backer rods, so it's mastic only. Is this a good idea?
I wouldn't bother with it. First off, it's going to be really ugly. If the cracks are all circular and stuff, it look like giant snakes and worms all over the place. It's not like they're going to be able to fill it and make it look smooth and beautiful again. It's not going to keep more cracks from happening. And what's going to happen with the mastic, and in fact, I got this question a couple of weeks ago on my show. A person about 4 or 5 years ago spent a lot of money to have this done, and all the mastic started curling up, and they wanted to do it again. And my answer was, clean it up, and why do it again? You're just going to have to constantly do it because it'll look different. I don't think it'll look better. So I don't really think it's worth you doing. I wouldn't spend the money. If you did, whether it's a backer rod or a sand, all that is a filler, and then they just cover the top. But what happens with that little mastic on the top, it starts to dry out. Let's face it, it gets really hot, and then the edges start to curl up. And it starts to look really bad in a different way. It looks like something you don't want to look at anymore. So I would tell you, don't do anything. Is it worth doing it? No. Would I do it? Absolutely not. I've got an old driveway. It's got open expansion joints. It's fine. I know in some parts of the country where you're on a lot of hills and you're going up and down with your driveways and there's got washout problems and stuff, that's different. That's why most of those driveways are covered with asphalt or done out of asphalt more so than just pouring concrete. But in Houston, everything being so flat, concrete's the way to go. It's less expensive, and that's what people do. Plus, you don't get that hot asphalt on your feet in the summer and drag it in your house. And the same with the mastic. So my answer is no, don't do it. And this is a question I've had for 35 years, and I still don't have a good answer. Other people have tried to do things, and nothing has been successful.
So you're saying that it's not your asphalt?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take that.
Okay.
Whatever you say.
So what is the, just for sake of a clarification for people who maybe, like, I didn't know this for years. I think it bears explaining better by you. These cracks in the driveway there, these expansion cracks, what is the purpose of these things in the first place, Tom?
Two purposes. One is if you could pour the driveway all in one pour without any of these control joints, you would end up with cracks all over the place because there's so much volume that concrete, and you have a little steel in there, whether it's a wire mesh or usually I always use number 3s on 16-inch centers, 14-inch centers, both ways. But you're going to get an expansion and contraction of the steel and the concrete, which is different. And it's just going to cause the concrete on the surface, which has the fine stuff that you want on top, so it's not all gravelly looking. And it's just going to show cracks everywhere. So you create a place where it's going to crack. If you go to sidewalks and you see the little joints every 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, depending on the sidewalk, that's because it's supposed to crack there, so you don't have cracks all over the sidewalks. That's why you see them. The second thing is when you pour that much concrete, you have to have a place where you stop and you start to finish. If you don't have a place to finish, what you're going to end up doing is have like a lava lamp all hardened up after a giant volcano, and it's going to look horrible because there's nowhere to stop and start to finish the surface, and you're going to have a mess on your hands. So there's only so far you can pour and start to finish as you start to pour more, so it gives a stop and start place as you move along down a very big driveway.
Coming back to the two-shot a second. Sorry, I'm giving the director here some tips. Yeah. I guess that's why when you see them pouring highways, they pour so many sections at a time too, I guess, right?
Yeah, you can only pour so much or you're going to have this edge of blob that starts to harden on you, and you're waiting for the next truck to come in, and it just, what do you do? I'll pour water on it? No, it's just, it's a curing process.
Maybe I should put an expansion joint right here. It'd help my blob down below. I don't know.
Maybe it'll control your crack.
Back to my asphalt again. All right. So, come back. No, he's not hurry to wrap this up.
Come back.
I want to give props to my boy over here. Now, since we've been doing these, just real briefly, I would usually sit here and I'm pushing buttons during the whole thing. Well, they've decided that, first they took us off Facebook Live. Now they don't want me to push the buttons anymore. So young Zachary Padilla is sitting over here. You can't see him. He's out of the shot. He's the one pushing the buttons now. And I just want to tell you, this is the end of his first week doing it, and he's done a boffo job. And
I thought you were going to say this is the end of his job here at Buncher Media. Okay, sorry.
No, I wouldn't say that on the air.
We're cleaning out his desk now as he is getting ready to leave.
I would never say that on the air.
That's true. HR.
So anyway, no, he's a good soul. We're happy to have him here. Happy member of the team, and we're blessed to have him and Chris. And
we've got better
Chad
people to fire than that.
And Mark.
Will.
I'm going to have to mention everybody now. The other Zach. All right. Hey, you want to send us a question? Yeah, he's moving along now. Click the Ask Tom button and fill out this form. Send it in with a picture, and we'll do something fancy with it. We'll get an experienced retired home builder and educator to answer your questions. He's right there. Tom Tynan. He'll help you out, and we'll post it on our YouTube channel, Home Show Radio YouTube channel, and at HomeShowRadio.com. And good job, Zach.